on managing training process. Before I start with today's program, today's topics, I would like to have any question that you have got from the previous session. On the previous session, if anybody has got any question, please do ask. Otherwise, I'll continue with our today's. Anybody, any question? No question?
No, sir, nothing particular.
Okay. Well, then I think I should proceed for today's program. Today we are talking about event management. So far, we have talked about how to manage the entire training process. I mean, the entire process has been done, but the most practical thing, the actual happening of the training process, training is going to happen in an event. So that event has ultimately has to happen someday. Now, this event can be seen from two ways. Number one, for the organization, they are going to conduct a training program in their training center or in their premises or somebody else's premises. And the event can also be seen from the point of view if you are a trainer and you are going to organize a training program somewhere, then how you are going to go about it. What are the things that you should see about? What are things you should try to understand and take care of to make the event successful? Ultimately, every all our efforts are depending upon the fact that if the event is successful, the training program goes well, then everything is fine. Otherwise, there is something we are really missing now. So, from that point of view, we'll try to understand what is an event, how to manage it, what are the processes involved in it, what are the types of events. So, let me start with our PowerPoint presentation. Let us see what is initially an event is. Well, so let us first see what is an event. What do you define an event? Event can be described as a public assembly for the purpose of celebration, education, marketing, reunion, right? It can be for different purposes. Event in general means that when there is an assembly of people for a particular purpose, the purpose may be any kind of celebration, education, training, marketing efforts, reunion of people. All these things that can be categorized as an event, right? And there are various types of events. Events can be big, it may be big, it may be a small, it may be a training event, it may be an cultural event, it may be an social event. So there are various kinds of events. So for the purpose of training now, let us try to see that what are the events that really we are concerned with. So one we can call as the corporate event, the events which are being organized by any company, any corporate, for maybe for different purpose. It may be for the training purpose, it may be for motivating their people, it may be for uh, we create an assembly and where the union of people are sitting there and for celebration, for any kind of celebration. It can be an education and career event. In an education event, we are going to impart some education to the people, the participants who are coming there. Sometimes the career events are done when the students they pass out of the schools or the colleges, what kind of career they should adopt in their life. On that, there are deliberations, and that is our education mm, uh, career event. So, an education career events, it may be a social event. It's a social gathering. You understand it. It may be any festival or any kind of social gathering. It may be in marketing events where we have somebody pitching their product or their services, um, and the prospective buyers are assembled there and the product is promoted, the service is promoted. So that is can be called as a marketing event. And the marketing event may involve, it may also involve, and not even not exactly the training, but there may be lectures and all that, which can to motivate people or to tell people about the product or the services. So now we are talking about what is an event management. Event management, like all other management processes, event management itself is a process which involves all the five steps of any management process, that is analyzing, planning, marketing, producing, and evaluating. I mean, the process, the event has to be analyzed, that what kind of event is it, how we are going to do it, what are the purpose of the event, why the event is being conducted. Those are to be analyzed, and on the basis of what the analysis, the planning is made, how we are going to go about it, how we are going to go about the event. So even if it is an organizational event, means organizational training event, then one has to analyze that what kind of training would be, who will be the target group, and where the training will be conducted, what will be the content of the training program, and everything. That is what you have learned earlier will be assembled to be ready to be delivered on a particular day and a particular venue and place, right? So that's what exactly is, has to be analyzed, and according to that, the planning is to be made. Planning is required to be made because now the jobs are to be uh, divided. It should be given to delegated to certain people, so that how the work is done properly, so that when the event day of the event comes, everything goes smoothly. The planning, and then when the planning is done, then the question is that if somebody is interested, the organization is interested in doing an event, in the sense that organization is going to are interested to conduct a training program. But for conducting the training program, there is requirement of the participants. Now, where the participants will come from, and there the question comes that the participants should be interested to come for joining the program. So there comes the question of marketing, making them aware of the particular event, what's going to happen, the particular training program, what is the content of the program, how that program is going to help them out. So that marketing, for that process, we have to first think about how that marketing is going to be done, what are the things, what are the media, what are the tools that are going to use to make the marketing. And then ultimately, the producing means the delivery of the actual event, the conducting the actual event, that takes place, and that event takes place, and after the event takes place, there's a stage of evaluation, and the evaluation, as you understand very well, how the program has gone well, or what are the things that you have learned out of it, what are the things that went wrong, and what kind of learning it has given to us. To understand that, evaluation of the event is also very important, because any event is not the end of the story. For every event, there is a learning from which the organization can learn for the next event can be made better. And even if it is for an individual is conducting a program, he learns out of it that for every program he conducts, he learns something better. So it's a way of promoting the product, service, or an idea. Yes, through a training program, through a deliberation, through a lecture, one can promote a product, one can promote a service, one can promote an idea, and that becomes itself is an event. And that event is a very important, reason being that it's going to give the marketing uh, pitch, because it can really help, very powerful thing for promoting the particular idea or the service or the product. So it is shall need to be managed very efficiently, so that the actual effect that is desired, that can be achieved. So it can be used as a very powerful promotion tool to launch or market a product or service. It can be used for launching a market a product, to market a product, conducting a training program for the people who are going to use it, and or use the product or the service. So event management requires certain core values to be deployed to every element, process, decision to justify professional approach, and what not. I would say event management requires certain values. That is how really we are going to do it, and what are the things that we should take care of, and ultimately that event should be able to contribute something to the people who are going to attend to that particular event, and they should be able to take something home. I mean, get something, get some idea, get a better idea, get get the things conceived in their mind, so that, and then the event will be really a successful event. So in an event management, all these stages of analyzing, planning, marketing, producing, and evaluating has to be taken care of, so that ultimately the event becomes a successful event. So in an event management process, in an event management process, there is there are certain steps which are to be taken into account. The steps are the initiating the event, making the planning, execution, controlling, and closure. Well, initiation means when the event has to be initiated, and that for initiating an event, certain requirements are required. And I mean, the first basic thing will be to decide about what kind of event you are going to do and why you are going to do it. If an organization is conducting a training program, it must know that why this training program is being done, who is the target group. That is the initiation. That idea will come first, and what is the purpose for which the training is being given, what really we want to achieve out of this training program, what kind of changes that is expected from the people who are going to attend the training program. That is an initiation stage. That's a thought process. And on the basis of that thought process, on the basis of that idea, on the basis of that goal, the planning is to be made, that now to attain that state, what really we require to do, what is required to be done. I mean, what are the steps that you need to take, and delegation of the work and everything is to be done at that stage. And then the actual working starts happening, the execution of the program, right? So that execution will become better and good if the planning is made properly, and the works are distributed properly, and all the works are done in time. That execution will be done very well. And then there is a control function, means to see that how the things have gone, whether the training program has gone perfectly okay, if there is something wrong, what are the reasons for that. And then the ultimately the closer, the event is finished well. So what we have done in event management process, I've got 5 stages, very simple stages, and we will see it further in our program. Now, the first, the initiation process. The initiation process is, well, there, the announcing the project means that the first and the foremost thing is that when you are going to initiate a training program, it must be announced to the people who are likely to attend that program. I mean, for whom the training is being conducted, they must know about it, and that program is to be announced. Uh, and then the state, the purpose for which the training program is being conducted. It's a very important thing. Reason being, whatever training program we are going to conduct, the target group, they must know what is the purpose for which the training is being conducted, going to be conducted, or the event is going to be conducted, so that they become mentally prepared and their acceptedness comes into being, right? So that's very important to state the purpose for which the training program is being conducted, so that people may decide to join that program. And even for the organization, they can really nominate the people who are going to attend that particular training program. Then identify the project, that, I mean, the entire thing of the project has to be done, and deciding that project has to be visualized, that how we are going to do, what are the steps that you're going to achieve. And then making the giving the works that to be distributed among the people who are going to manage that particular event. Their roles are to be fixed, and that will be the whole process in the beginning. But for doing this thing, we must determine the goal and scope of the project. For doing that project, what is the goal of that project? What is the scope of that project? That to what extent the program is going to be conducted, with what goal and what dimension that program is going to be conducted. Who are the people who are going to really manage the program? Identifying the core team who are really going to uh, take care of the program. Then defining the communication channel, that because as it has been said that the program has to be announced. Then initiation process is dealing with planning, and not even the planning stage. It is the stage where we are visualizing the thing, and that's what actually you're going to do. And if you want to announce a project, then there is a need for defining the communication channels that through which that we are going to communicate to the people. And that communication channel has to be decided, the methods which you are going to apply, so that the regarding the program, all information that is required is going to be passed to the people who are our target group, and to what frequency those information are to be shared with people, and what will be the content of that. So defining that initiation process with the event now is at a stage where you are visualizing something. That's what going to happen. It's in a thought process, right? So announcing that process is important, but for announcing that, we must know the purpose of the project, identify the goal and scope of that project, identify the people, the team that are going to really conduct the program, and how we are going to communicate to the people, what are the methods that you require, what is the frequency of mm, um, uh, from sending a communication to the people, and what is the con, what is the content of that program, right? So it's a process where we are making finalizing that a program is going to be conducted. It's an authorization of a project. That project is going to be conducted, and along with that, we need to see that what are the feasibility of that program, whether this program is possible to be conducted or not, and if at all is possible, what are the problems or issues that may come, and what are the requirements that we must have. So it will be a preliminary stage of initiation, or the preliminary stage of planning, before planning stage, where we are starting to visualize the thing. Well, after that, there is a planning phase comes. Now the actual planning phase comes here, and the planning phase will involve certain other things. It will identify the tasks required to achieve project goals. Well, now since we have some visualization about the particular event, what we are really going to do, then you have to break that entire thing into smaller tasks. And for that, for doing that, we must have a goal to be achieved. That what we are really going to achieve, and for achieving that, what are the tasks that are to be completed, right? And what are the efforts that you require to make for conducting this. Well, whenever we think about a goal and we want to achieve that, tasks are required, but those tasks are to be conducted. But while doing that, conducting the task, there will be various identification of various risks. For everything, there will be certain risks involved. Anything that you want to do, there is a possibility that certain risks will come. And in planning stage, you have to take care of those. What are the risks that is possible? And the possible risks, how we're really going to avert that, to develop a plan to control those. So, for example, if you are going to conduct a training program, and it's an outside training program, and that's our goal to be conducted, then we may visualize that what will be the availability of the training hall where we're going to conduct, whether there will be any issue in really getting that particular venue for where we are going to conduct the training program. What are the issues or the problems that we may likely to face while nominating the people who are coming from distant places, how they will come, what will be the requirement of the boarding and lodging, and where they are really going to stay. Those are certain things which you have to develop a plan for that right from the beginning. What are the possible risks if people cannot, if you do not get the exact number of or the sufficient number of participation for the in the program, and you have already made expenditures, then how we are going to really conduct the program, from where we are going to get the participation. I mean, you are not getting the accommodation, then in case this accommodation doesn't work, we do not get anything, then where the accommodation we are going to make arrange for. So there will be various risks involved. Risk in the sense, a risk perception will be there. What are the possible things that can happen? And we need to understand beforehand, and we must plan for controlling that. And that's what is our strategy. I mean, we must think about what are the possible things that can happen and how we're going to control this. This is something very important, because whenever you decide about an event, it may, whenever you think about it, it may go, everything goes smooth. But in the real scenario, there may be certain situations, certain problems, certain issues that may come, which you have to foresee. I mean, we must have that understanding about what possibly can happen. Then there is a requirement of estimating the required staffing levels. I mean, how much staff will require, and what kind of specialties are required from those people, what kind of special understanding is required from those people. So estimation of that is to be done beforehand. The reason being, they are really going to do the thing, but only planning is not going to help us. The staff is required. There is a requirement of estimating the quantity and timing of materials and equipments needed. For conducting any training programs, there is a need for having certain materials, certain equipments, in the sense that if you're going to conduct a training program, we require mm, uh, the uh, the materials for the training. We require the projectors. We require the furnitures that is required. We require LC projector. We require the sound system. There are various equipments which are required and materials which are required. We have to estimate that before, and then from where we are going to procure those things. And if you are going to do something somewhere in a outside place, then how we are going to arrange for this, who will arrange for those things, that aspect has to be think about. Defining the task sequence and developing a schedule, yes. How the actually the things are going to happen, which tasks will be done, which tasks are to be done beforehand, which tasks are done on the day of the program. So there will be various tasks, and that sequence need to be made, and a schedule is to be made for that, and the delegation of different tasks to be given to different people, right? So defining the task sequence, howsoever an event may look very simple, but there are very small steps which are required. One has to pre-think about that, right? So one has to think beforehand that what are the possible things that's going to happen step by step. Define the task sequence and develop a schedule. So, say for example, if you just want to make, if you're going to make an event, first you have to decide about the training program, what training program you are going to do, and who is the target group for which you are going to do, and what is the purpose for which you are doing the training program. That is the first thing. What is the training program, why you are doing it, and who is the target group. And then comes, yes, if at all we are going to do it, where we are going to do it, and if at all we are going to do it, how we'll do it, where will be the venue, what are the things that to be done in that step. So nomination is to be done, the materials are to be prepared, the venue is to be decided, and the equipments are to be brought there. These are all steps which are required to conduct a training program. Those are to be defined very well. There is need for estimating the what you call the cost involved in it, the labor involved in it, the materials involved in it, the facilities required, and for that we may have to make a budget, because that is ultimately the guiding factor, that how much you can really spend on this particular event. So what is the cost involved in that, what are the efforts that you have to do, what are the work that you need to do, what are the materials and facilities required. This again is to be thought at the planning phase. The better we make the planning phase, the better will be the result, because there are very small things which have to be think beforehand. Maybe in a particular point of time, one very small thing can really ruin the entire program, entire event. Um, so you can think about, there may be various situations. If an LCD projector is not working in the right time, or there is the sound system is not working, or there is no microphone is not available, the very small things which you require, and the participation is not there, the people are not attending the training program, and the number is very less. So there's a problem in the lodging or the boarding of the people. There are issues that are many. So then in planning phase, one is to think about each and every step that is required to be done, and then not only that, in case that fails, what will be the alternative for that, that how we can really manage that situation. That has to be thought in the planning phase. And then comes our execution phase. Execution, as you know, that what we have done first, that we make a project plan. That is what we have already discussed about. That's a pre-event activity. That's our pre-event activity. Then we have made the plans, as we have talked in the earlier slide. The plans are to be decided, and then the next thing is the execution of the project. Means the actual conducting conducting of the event. That the event is going to be conducted on a particular day, and if everything goes well, the planning goes well, and everything goes well, the work distribution goes well, the sequence of the work goes well, then the likelihood that the delivery of the particular event, the event day will become maybe a successful day, provided the training delivery is also very good. So execution is an execution process, entire execution process. Ultimately, on the day of the delivery, we'll get the product. The product or the goal will be achieved on the day. That is what is described in the activities on that scheduled day. That is the execution day. Well, for which entire thing, entire process of thinking, entire process of planning is carried out. Well, the continuing process, this is not more than continuing process. I'll call it as a control process. The control process is that, as I told you earlier, yes, every training event that we do, and no event that we do is going to be flawless. There may be some problem or some issues involved. There will be something went wrong, but those everything is going to give a learning to the people who are really going to do it. They are going to do it. They will learn something out of it. So for doing that, one has to monitor, measure, and report the performance of the project activity. So at the end of a particular, just like as we do in a project management, we need to monitor the project, how things went, the measuring the results and the performance, and make a report of that. And that is really going to give us some idea. One idea is that we can verify that the project is running within scope, in the sense that whatever we have thought of, the scale and the quality of the program that we had an idea in mind, whether that has been achieved or not. If it was not achieved, what are the issues that came, and what are the, whether there is any aberration or any deviation of whatever we have decided earlier that has taken place. If that has taken place, why it has taken place, right? So, mm, and that is going to really going to give an insight into the whole project, about the scheduling of the project, whether the schedule, everything was in order, in the sense that everything was in time as per schedule, whether things are all right. What about the cost? The cost involved, has it been within the control, within the cost estimated earlier? Whether the program, the quality of the program has been achieved as it was decided, as it was thought of in the beginning. And then what are the risks that came in between, and how did it was monitored and controlled in that process, because those are the learnings, there may be certain aberrations, certain deviations from the actual thing, and everything that's going to give us some kind of knowledge, some kind of understanding, which becomes an asset for the next programs to be conducted. So it's a controlling process that is to be done very carefully, because that is going to be really an asset for our next program. The closure in itself is a state. The closure is there when the product is delivered and the goals are met. Goals are likely to be met. If the goals are not met, then it was a failure. But if the goal is made and the product is delivered, I mean the event has been accomplished, and the purpose for which the event was decided or thought of, that has been achieved, then it is uh, something which is really good. And but in that state, there are certain works that is to be done, that is to be completed, resolving the open issues. And for the entire program, entire event, there will be various issues. I mean, there will be interactions with different kinds of people, different vendors, maybe for the venue, maybe for the equipment that you're thinking about, maybe for the boarding and lodging. There will be certain issues with third parties. Those issues are to be resolved. I mean, we have to make the payment for the hotel bill if there is a hotel. We have to make the payment for the LCD projector. We have to make payment for people staying somewhere. We have to make for the food and beverages that you have taken. So all these things are these are the open issues. We have called for a guest faculty to whom we have to make the payment, right? So resolving these open issues is to be taken, has to be carried out at that closer stage. Completing that contractual obligations, whatever has been decided earlier to be done, that has been completed. That contractual obligations are completed. That has to be those are to be finished at that stage. Completing the paperwork for formal completion. So there may be certain paperwork. I mean, uh, when you make a training program, there are various training paperworks. Maybe in the sense, uh, when the training program is over, we take a feedback from the people, right? And from the feedback we may get certain things, because there are certain issues, that problems comes, that may be a learning for us. So that paperwork is very important because we come to know from the actual participant that what is the issue faced by them, what are the problems they faced by them, and how can you really improve upon that in our future programs, right? So and then completing all those kinds of paperwork, then maybe that if it's an organization, they may have to report that training program about the training program to their central office where the actual monitoring will be done, right? So reporting that training program, right? And then there are other work, relieving the people who have joined from some other distance place, relieving from the training program, sending back to their own places. So these are all paperwork have to be done. That is in the closure ceremony. Even in the closure, we may have a group photograph. I mean, and those are to be sent to the people at the in the respective places. And then ultimately the evaluation, as we have already talked about, evaluating the entire program that things have gone exactly as what is decided about, and we have really achieved the goal that we have decided to, right? And then we're talking about the documentation. Documentation means that the training program, every training program or every event that we take, the conduct is a real example or real experience, and that experience tells us certain problems, certain issues, certain achievements also. There might be certain issues which has been handled very well and the program went very well. So, and these all experiences are the other steps through which people learn about it. No, you conduct one event, you learn out of it. The next event there will be issues will be less because now you understand better, and so on. Things go on like this. But these steps, whatever we have achieved, whatever steps we have taken, what issues came and how we solved it, those are required to be documented so that in future we can refer to those things and we can understand that in a particular situation, what kind of steps were taken and how that step was relevant for us, how that step helped us in conducting the event. So those all things are possible to happen if at all you document those things in the form of writing about all those experiences, about those all those the monitoring process or the controlling process, the steps taken, right, and the goals achieved and the results achieved, the performance achieved, everything is documented. That becomes a very important issue. So in a closer ceremony, in a closer step, we need to one has to document those things. That's very important because that's going to be a very helpful thing for the future prospect. So that means what you have seen so far is that, an event management process has got the initiation process where we need to announce the project, we have to state the purpose, we have to identify the project, we have to identify the goal and scope, identify the team, define the communication channels and all that. It's a process of authorizing that entire event, or to make a study of the feasibility and how this is going to happen, what requirements is done. That's the first step. Second step is the planning phase, where you identify the possible risks which are likely to happen, and if such risk comes, then how we are going to manage those, what steps, alternatives that you have got. Then you need to make an estimation regarding the staff, regarding the quality, quantity and timing of materials and equipments needed, what will be the task sequence, and developing a schedule for that, the estimation for cost, labor, material facilities, etc. Those are to be done in the planning phase, and then there is the execution phase, means actually it is to be delivered, it is to be done, it is to be conducted, that's conducted. And ultimately, there is a control process that whatever has been done, has it been done within the scope and authority and the with the budget, within the budget. I mean, the cost involved, the quality of the thing, the monitoring of the event, everything has gone well. And if there are certain changes, what changes took place and how did you control that. And ultimately the closure process will take stock of the entire thing, the entire process, and out of that entire process it will be documented that how things are achieved and how things were went well in the entire training program. That is the closure process. Now with that, I'm coming to the first half of this end of this first half, and if you have got any question regarding this, you may please ask me. Anybody has got any question, please do ask me. All are silent. I understand that you all are very well experienced people who don't require to understand. Already you understand all these things. But still, if you have got anything to ask, you may please. Hello?
Sir, it was self-explanatory, so no questions as of now from my side.
Are you sure it was self-explanatory? I mean, there's no question at all. Anybody has got any question?
Sir, I have one question. This is
Please,
Arvind here.
please, come on.
When we talk about the
Yeah.
event management on the virtual platform also will take place, but on a different approach, with a
Yes.
different approach. So,
Yes.
should we also like in case if we are asked uh, for answering something relevant to how to manage an event,
Yeah.
uh, basically from event I understand the training. Uh, should we focus more on the physical aspects, or should we talk of the current aspects also, where we include the challenges, the approaches, the benefits, advantages, and anything and everything related to the virtual platform?
Yes, that's right. It's a very good question. The thing is this, things are evolving. First, now we are in a stage where in a transit stage. When you talk of the event management, you should first talk about the entire thing. We should first talk about the entire thing because in a real life, in a actual practical event, not online, we have to take care of everything. And barring certain things, except for the venue and all that, all other things have to be done as it is. The planning has to be done, the materials have to be prepared, right? And the purpose has to be decided. Only the venue will be different. Only the people will not get transported from one place to the other place, but everything else will remain the same. So that part remains all the same. But then when it becomes an online, there are certain extra things are involved in it. There is the involvement of technology and understanding of the technology, management of the entire thing. So when you're talking about the event management, today when you talk of event management, we should come into the talk about the scope of both the things, online as well as offline. You know, both the things require to be understood because it may be in a training process also even afterwards, even after COVID. There may be partially certain things will be conducted as it is online because that has got certain advantages. So those advantages are to be benefits are to be taken out of that. So both the things I understand that both the things required to be discussed about with offline as well as online. That will give you a better answer. Yes, please.
Correct, correct. So I guess even in the virtual platform, sometimes venue can become very important. Like let's say if I have to have some specific training where lighting has to be studio type, and there has to be a specific arrangements. In that case, the trainer will be called to a place with a specific arrangements, and he'll provide the training so that the training will be more impactful rather than him sitting in his home and imparting the same training.
You were absolutely right. You were absolutely right that a setting can be prepared for the trainer. So he goes there and gives the training in a particular place because it's quite possible that you may require the electronic boards and all that where you will deliver the training.
Correct,
So
sir.
the trainer requires that environment, that technological environment from where he will broadcast the training and other people will sit at home and attend the training program, right?
Correct, sir.
So that we are absolutely right that there again some kind of platform or some kind of requirement of some technology may be there, and tomorrow the things are going to happen like this, and this is going to happen. Yes.
Correct. One biggest challenge, that I anticipate usually in the virtual trainings are like, let's say you are providing training from your home and you have a bandwidth. What happens with if your bandwidth snaps? You do not may not have the alternate bandwidth. So in case if you go to an organization where they'll have like multiple channels, if one bandwidth fails, they'll have a backup for with different bandwidths so that the training program or the session continues.
Yes, yes, those things are going to come up. And as you go ahead. There was a time when people are not at all accustomed with Zoom and all that, these kind of webinars. But today people are aware of this, but gradually this is going to be more, better technologies are going to be used, and so that the effects become much better
Correct.
and the delivery becomes much better to the highest satisfaction. Yes, of course, I agree with you. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Ah. Anybody else have got any question, please? I mean, you should look at the training program from both the points of view, from the point of view of the organization that is conducting a training program, and the second thing is you as a trainer is going to conduct a training program. So both the points are important. After all, since you are a trainer, you may have to arrange for a training program. How are you going to go about it? So think about from that aspect also. And if you got any question, you may please ask me. So there is no question. I think there is no question, or you don't want to ask here. So now let us then go ahead with our rest of the training program. Yeah. Yeah. For doing any event, there is a requirement of market research. Now try to understand here. I am little also including individual events, in the sense one is the event being conducted by the organization, which has got not much to do with the market, because this program is not going to be conducted for the people at large. These are going to be conducted only for the staff members, the employees of the organization. So there is no question of much question of any market research. The only market research involved there is that what kind of training program can be given which is good for the people, number one. What kind of faculty that you can get in a particular technological area which can really become helpful and beneficial for the target group of people. Well, which things are happening in the market regarding a particular topic, so the subject which can really deliver, give us the best results as a development in the people. So that kind of market research will be there. But there's no competition, in the sense there's no competition for the event. But when you look at it from an individual who is going to conduct a training program, you as a trainer, you're going to conduct a training program, then there is a question of making market research. Means what? That whatever training program you are going to float and you are going to conduct, what is the scope for that particular subject or the topics in the market. So we have to make a research whether at all there is a market for that kind of topics. I mean, the people are going to attend to that kind of training program or not. Is there any market for this? And if at all there is a market, then you need to make an analysis of the market, in the sense that who are the people, who are the target group, who maybe who are likely to be interested in attending that kind of training program, and what will be their characteristics. Characteristics in the sense what will be their, and maybe what will be their occupation, what will be their age group, what will be their qualification background, all right. And so everything has to be uh, made research, so that you can really make a training program which is suitable for these people. And not only that, that market research can help you to propagate the make the it becomes a marketing tool for communicating to the people. The communication channels can be decided out of that, right? So there is a need for market research in the event planning. And also from the other point of view, and the market research is to be done, that in the sense that you may have to find out that where the venues are best available, which venues are most suitable for us, and not only the venue, all other equipments and material that is required for which, what is the best possible thing available in the market, then that also we may have to make a research out of that. So uh, more or less in every kind of thing, you need to make some kind of market research before making any event planning. Well, and as I have talked about that, when you are talking about any training program, when you're talking about any training program individually as a trainer, then you must know that there is an existence of competitors in the market. And when there is existence of competitor, then you have to compare yourself with the performance of the other people, right? So uh, you may have to make an analysis of the competitors. Who are the people who are in the market who are also conducting such kind of programs? who are also conducting such kind of programs. And uh, if at all there are people, if you find that there is no competitor, it's a very good thing. But then if there is no competitor, there is a chance that there is no market also. So both the things are connected with each other. If there is no market, there is no competitor. If there is a market, there will be competitor. And if there is a competitor who is going to do that, and then the next question comes on how he is going to do that. I mean, what is the quality of that training program that is rendering? What are the technologies he's using? What is his way of delivery, and what are the content he is transferring to the people? So that how is to be seen, that is to be analyzed, which is very, very important, because you have to, when you are talking of competing with others, we have to see your the quality of your training. That quality has to be seen. That what is the quality of that training? Are you in a position to deliver that kind of quality? And if at all you, you find that there is a better quality, how you can really going to improve upon, and how you are going to change your quality, how you are going to develop your quality, what kind of learning and experience you should gather, so that you can also develop that kind of qualitative program. So and then comes the competence. What are the competence of the people who are already conducting the program vis-a-vis uh, the person who is conducting the program, his own competence? One has to make a comparison of both the things, right? Competence of the people, of the competitors, and the competence of the self. That is to be compared. And if something is lacking, then no harm in it. There may be certain things lacking, but those are to be acquired, those are to be gathered, those are to be learned, and so that you become prepared for the training program. What are the threats? What are the possible threats? Possible threats in the sense, in the market, whenever in the market as opportunities are there, there are threats also. Threats in the term that people may be selling the same product at a lower price, right? And there may be people who have got large number of the followers who are really following him, and he may go for a lower price and really get a better chunk of the market, so which you cannot get. The another threat, the quality of a training program is very high, which and is supported by certain credentials which you may not have. So we have to think about that. What are the threats that possible is there? How we are going to avoid it, right? How we are going to overcome that, and what is so there is the competitive strength has to be seen. What is that competitive strength? Because every person may have got the different strengths. So one has to look at what is the competitive priority he has got. That what kind of strength he has got. Somebody may be very good at training. Somebody may have very good material. Somebody may have very good technology being used. Somebody may have hire very good guest faculties and all that. So there are various things. So because how much you can spend also upon that. That what is your the financial capacity, or what is your budget for the program. So all these things together creates a competition. That competitor analysis is something of which is required, very important, which is very, very important. That has to be made. In particular, they're telling you this is for the people who are going to conduct their own training program, which may not be there in case of organization, because they are not exactly going to compete with other organizations in this term. We need to make SWOT analysis, even planning. SWOT analysis, that what are our strengths, as you know, what are weaknesses, what are the opportunities, and what are the threats available, right? What are the strengths in the sense in our event? What are the strengths can be that? What are strengths can be? If you can think about it, strengths can be that we have got very highly capable trainer, or we have had a very good faculty, right? This is one strength. We have got very good material, right? We have got a very good technology and systems available for us for doing the training program, for conducting the event. We have got a very good uh, marketing infrastructure by which you can really market our product very well. So these are the strengths. And you know that this is something which is very important. Even if you look uh, from the perspective of an individual who is conducting a training program, there are very good trainers but not very good in social media marketing. Or even if they are not very good in the social media marketing, even if they are thinking about hiring the people, then there is a cost concern is there. So that itself becomes a strength or a weakness, right? Because without social media marketing, you cannot think about propagating your product if you're an individual who is conducting a training program. The strengths as well as the weaknesses are to be seen. The faculty is not highly knowledgeable, and you don't have much money, big budget to call for a big faculty, a great faculty to whom you have to pay very high. This may be the shortcomings of the weakness in itself, the strengths and weaknesses, and the opportunities. Opportunities, one is to look at the opportunities from both the point. For the organization, the training program itself is an opportunity for developing people, for growing people, and by growing that, those people will become instrumental in contributing to the requirement of the organization, to the goal of the organization, right? And that itself is something worth thinking about. Well, uh, the opportunities are to be seen from that point of view, and for an individual, the opportunities are that for such a particular kind of event he's going to conduct, what are the opportunities available in the market, how people are faring, and what chunk of market he can really capture, what opportunities is existing by doing that. So that itself becomes something very important to be thought about, thought to be decided. And what are the threats? What are the possible threats? What are the competitions that one is going to face? What is the position of availability of faculty, that itself may be a threat? What is the position of the quality of a training program that you're going to deliver vis-a-vis already other existing competitors in the market? For an organization, the threats, it may be in the form of availability of hall, availability of the participants from the market, availability of a particular kind of guest faculty. So those are threats. I mean, for making an event, the availability of hall itself, sometimes the venue is not available on a particular date or particular time. The venue is not available, the hotel accommodation is not being available. So that is again is an issue one has to think about in event planning. One has to make an analysis, SWOT analysis of that. And then a report has to be made. So if you're an organization, you have to make an analysis, a report about the training program, on various aspects of how we're going to conduct the training program. What are your strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities available in the market? What are the threats available? And if there are opportunities or there are threats, how we are going to act, how we are going to avail the opportunities, how we are going to exploit the opportunities, how we are going to minimize the risk or minimize the threat, how we are going to counter that. Those report has to be made, which is important. Event planning with 5 Ws concept. Now let us come to this very important point, that event planning with 5W concept. Why, what, when, where, and who. Why? Again, I'm asking this question. Event, whenever you do an event, it must be justified by the purpose. Well, why the event is being conducted at all. The purpose. If it's an organization, it will have its own purpose, because by the training program, it is going to contribute to the purpose and the goal of the organization, right? What is the achievement? What is the goal that is to be achieved, and how the training program or an event is going to contribute to the achievement of that goal? That is the purpose. So that purpose is to be identified. The purpose is to be uh, planned beforehand, thought about beforehand, why I'm doing it, why we are doing it. And then comes the kind of event, that what kind of event do you want to be, at what scale. Is a big program, it's a small program, it's an offline program, it's an online program, it's a locational program, what kind of event that you're going to make, right? Those are to be decided. And because that will depend upon the various other factors, the importance of that particular program, the target group for that particular program, who is going to attend that program, what is the immediacy or the urgency of that particular program, how it is, to what extent, how seriously it is going to affect the organizational performance. All these kinds of things will decided by that what kind of event is going to be conducted. And then comes the date and time. That again, itself is a very important issue, because date and time is, for an organization in particular, it is important from the point of view availability to the participant in a particular point of time. So when the if there is a session, is the time when there are certain other important works are being done by the department, then probably that may not be a suitable time. Say for example, in year end, people are busy with uh, the year ending works. So or in a month end, people may be busy with that. So one has to see that what is the date and time when it is the most suitable thing. This is one. The date and time will also be decided about by the availability of the venue and the place and boarding and lodging. Availability of that is also going to um, affect the decision about when it is going to be conducted. It also will affect from the point of view that what is the urgency of that particular training program. If the training program is very urgent, that people are to be trained in a particular area within a particular stipulated period of time, if there is a government guideline that within such and such time, within 2 months or 1 month, you should be equipped with that and you have to manage it, then you have to do it within time. A date and time will be there. So when itself is a very, very important issue that that has to be taken care of. And when itself is a very important issue. And then comes the place and the venue. It is very, very important with the place and the venue where we are going to conduct the training program. That again will depend upon the availability of the for an organization, availability of the place, availability of the training hall, availability of the venue within their premises, or whether they're going to do it offline. I mean, in a somewhere else, out of their organization somewhere else. So in a uh, so where the availability of the hotels and venues are there or not, where it is going to be available. So that availability is something very important. Where the place will also depend upon the target group of people. If suppose you are going to conduct a training program for the executives, you may have to think of a venue which will be, to their requirement, to their liking, to really keep them motivated. So you have to take a place or a venue according to that. So where becomes important from the point of view the time and the target group and the target group of people. So and the purpose of the program, and then who are going to conduct the training, in the sense who are going to conduct that event. Conducting an event itself is a big task. So there will be people who will coordinate that program. That team has to be prepared is going to do that. So that itself is something very, very important. And those are to be decided before it. And the works are to be delegated to them in time so that uh, things are things can be done properly in time, right? So events planning with this 5W concept is very, very important. That why, what, when, where, and who. This is true for the organization. This is true for the individual also, who is going to conduct a training program for himself. Event venue selection. This is one very important issue, because you know that the experience that the participant get depends much on the venue. And that experience is really going to decide to a large extent the quality of the program and the attentiveness of the people who are going to participate in the program. So that itself is very important. So that will depend upon number on the target audience. Who are the audience who are really going to attend the program? So they have got their own expectations, and depending upon that expectation, the venue we have to prepare. As I told you earlier, for an executive, you may have to think about a venue which is really suitable to their level and to their status and to their expectations, right? So the target audience will decide that what venue should be decided. The guest size, another important thing. So obviously, for a small size of people, we may have a small hall or a small place or a seminar room. But for a guest size is big, then we may have to have a big hall and all that kind of. The guest size is another important issue in deciding the venue that where we are going to really conduct the program. The target audience convenience is another thing, that when people are coming from different places to attend a program, it is always likely, the most rational approach would be to uh, conduct the training for some middle place where it will be at almost at the same distance from all the participants. So somewhere in between, where people come from all different places, if it is done somewhere outside program, it may be done somewhere in the country, or where people may come from different places. If it is within a city, that venue may be somewhere where people can easily and conveniently attend to that program. So as far as possible, the venue selection has to be kept in mind. These issues are to be kept in mind, which is, I mean, not a must, but that is a very important thing, because that is really going to create the satisfaction of the people who are going to conduct to attend the training program. The venue history, there is another thing that we should before and see that what is the history of that venue, in the sense, once you are inside the train, inside a venue, then the real issues will come. How we are going being entertained there, what are the facilities available there, are they taking care of that, whether it is a projector, what there is the electricity available there, what is the the lunch and the dinner, or something else, the beverages or the tea, everything is being supplied there, has it being done properly or not, what is that history of that people, that how they really cooperate and coordinate in the management of the management of the event. That's a very important issue that one has to ensure beforehand, that there's the history of that venue, what is the experience of other people regarding that venue. That is something very important in deciding about the or selecting the venue. The venue services, what kind of services are available at that place, available at that venue, in terms of food, in terms of um, I mean, in terms of all other amenities that is given, if it is, I mean, the equipment, the material that is supplied, right? So all these things are the services which are required for that particular training program or that event, whether those are available properly or not. The arrangement of security arrangement, in the sense the fireproof, the that aspect is to be taken care of, that in case of fire, how the people are going to be removed from that place, or the theft should not take place. I mean, there are various other things which is to be seen from the point of view of security in the venue. The the parking facility, another important thing comes in a venue, that if you are going to conduct a training program, the people cannot park their car, it becomes an inconvenience for them. In particular, if you are conducting a training program, then people would like to participate in a program where there is ample availability of parking slot, or then otherwise you have to make an arrangement for that, or you have to ask people not to bring their vehicles in that particular place. So that itself is something which is to be taken care of. The fees for the venue, that is the most important thing for a not only for an organization, it is important, because that is going to affect their the cost of the cost of the program, cost of the event. And from the point of view of a individual trainer who are going to conduct a training program, because the venue fees are very important, because he is going to charge certain amount from the participants. So what he will earn out of that entire process will depend upon what is the venue cost, what is the cost towards boarding and lodging, and the hall charges and all that, and so what ultimately he is going to earn out of this process. So what is the fees of the venue? That again is something important while deciding on venue selection. So it sometimes takes a lot of time in deciding this, because there may be certain conditions, certain services not available, or the cost is very high, so some of the other conditions may be there which is not suitable to the organization or the individual who is going to conduct the training program. So event venue selection is also something which is very important and should be taken care of. Then even marketing promotional campaign, something of paramount importance. It's a highly important thing, that marketing the what do you call the promotional campaign. I mean, without promoting something, you cannot expect the participants to join that program. It may be a little different for an organization, because they may have their administration where people may have to come and join whether they like it or not. But for an individual who is going to conduct a training program, it becomes very important to market or promote the product, so that people become influenced by it, and people really wants to attend the program. That's something important. So for that, what are the requirements? Set up an advertising objectives. That we need to advertise in the market for that, and what are the objective means? I mean, how much you are going to get, how many target group of target people are going to get, how many number of people are going to get out of that advertisement. So, well, you have to set up an objective for that. Then you have to decide the activities that you're going to take up to promote the event, whether we are doing it through the social media marketing only, or email marketing, or by WhatsApp marketing, what kind of thing, how we are going to promote that, or we are going to conduct a free session or a free seminar, or going to conduct some online webinar. So what kind of promotional activity that you are going to make to market the product, right? What media we're going to use. Is it only, I mean, the media, there may be various kinds of media, with the print media or a social media. I mean, today there is a large number of social media, or through the digital marketing age is there. So what kind of media we're going to use? What kind of social media we're going to use? Are you going to use Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Pinterest? What kind of social media we're going to use, and how we are going to use? Are you going to take the benefits of their inbuilt promotion activities? So what kind of social media we're going to use? What kind of print media we're going to use? As you know, that gradually that print media is being absent nowadays. There was a day when you used to have only leaflets and booklets and all that, but today everything is becoming electronic, and we're sharing that. So print media, the electronic media has become very, the most important thing today, and that is taken up the market with a storm, because everything is now being electronic. We're sending everything to our email or through the WhatsApp, right? Electronic media. The promotional campaign webinar is something very now today it is very common, and everywhere there is webinar. There was a time when webinar was also not very common, but today it's the most common, thanks to COVID, that everything is now in a webinar. So webinar itself is a promotional tool by which you can really, it's a very cheap and easy tool by which you can really reach people, not to a far flung areas, to a large distance. Entire the globe we can reach, in fact, through the webinars. Email marketing is another thing that which is a age-old system of marketing, promoting the things, and which is evergreen. Email marketing is there, and then WhatsApp marketing is today, where you are talking about the WhatsApp marketing, and people are using that WhatsApp so extensively that one cannot do without it. We cannot do without it, and there's something very important. So marketing promotional campaign is the heart and soul of any event. That is the most important thing, because there is a program designed, everything is ready, and there are participants, requirement of participants. If that is not there, everything goes out of gear. And if we require participants, we have to promote that. So promotion is the heart and soul of that. So we have to set up an advertisement objective. We have to decide the promotional activities. We have to decide the media. We have to think about social media, print media, electronic media. We have to conduct webinars. We have to use the email marketing. We have to use the WhatsApp marketing, right? So that's something very important. Now let us see that.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Please.
In the last slide, sir.
Hmm.
Sir, all the points that you have given, more or less, some of them are overlapping, like electronic media covers WhatsApp and all those things.
Yeah.
So, sir, do we discuss them separately, or they will be covered under one umbrella?
You see, it will depend upon the question that is asked. Suppose they are asking you to write about the electronic media.
Yes, sir.
One question on electronic media, how many lines you can write? You have to segregate those. You have to
Okay,
write
sir.
on the social media, and write on WhatsApp. You have to write on email separately.
Mhm.
But if that email, that what do you call, electronic media is a part of a bigger question, you can only write few lines. So it will depend upon what kind of question is being asked. Here,
Okay, sir.
why this is being said separately, to underline that these are the areas in an electronic media we should take care of, right?
Okay, sir.
Uh,
Right, sir.
Are you
Thank
getting
you,
the
sir.
point? It will depend upon the question asked. You may, maybe in certain question you have to give only passing remarks, nothing more than that. But there may be question itself on the electronic media.
Okay, sir.
No,
Understood, sir.
no. Now comes the event evaluation. Okay, the event evaluation, I've already talked about it for every event that is done, and that you must uh, evaluate that, whether the objectives have been achieved or not, to what extent it has been achieved, and what is the feedback about the program, about the event. Is that satisfactory? If not satisfactory, where things went wrong, and what best we can do to remove those things, right? So that event evaluation is something important that is to be done, and we have already talked about it. Promoting events through past events and testimonials. Now, this is something some another tool by which you can really promote our events. Whatever you do, whatever you have done in the past itself becomes a history, but that becomes an experience, not only an experience, that becomes a testimonial. If you've done a very good program and you have got all the materials to show and prove that we have done good and well, and you have got the experiences inscribed somewhere in the terms of photographs, in terms of videos and all that, that's going to give you a better uh, help in promoting your today's programs, right? So that towards that, you can have one can have a website. The website is going to contain all the past events, all the past events, the details of the past event, the testimonial, the photographs and all that. That's going to become a testimony for the future program. You can refer to those things to the prospective client, that these are the kinds of programs that you have already conducted, and that's going to add to your credibility. The advertisements, the past advertisements, that itself becomes a testimonial. The testimonial given by others, other people. You may have taken a testimonial today. There is a you can take your cell phone and take an interview with somebody, and that itself becomes a testimonial. That's going to help you in promoting your present event, because that you are going to show them that what you have already done. The photographs are another kind of testimonial that you can put in your website, that you can put in the social media, and that itself becomes a testimonial by people, becomes influenced by it, and people are becomes interested to uh, attend your training program. The special events are conducting that you can conduct a free seminar on what you have already done and what you are going to do, and you give a small taste of what you are going to do in your forthcoming event. So that conducting that special event, it will become a testimonial in itself, because you will show there, physically you will show there what you are going to do in the forthcoming program. So events are to be promoted, need to be promoted, because the past events and testimonials are a great tool for promoting your present event or the future event that is going to happen. So one need to preserve those things. A training program is conducted, an event is done, no photographs taken, no videos done, it's a wastage, because that is an experience, that is an event that you have done. It could have been a testimonial which can really be beneficial for your next forthcoming program, to promote this program. So websites, advertisements, testimonials given by others, photographs, special events are very important thing in promoting your event. Now, so far we have done post our what do you call the earlier recap of mark. We need to make market research in event planning. That's important. Market research about the existence of the market and the market characteristics. We need to make competitor analysis. Who are the competitors? How they are doing? What the quality of the program? What is their competence? What are the threats being posed by them? What is their competitive strength vis-a-vis us? That competitor analysis to be done. SWOT analysis is done for the individual, that what are our strengths, what is our weaknesses, what are the opportunities available, how we are going to really avail that opportunity, what are the threats in the market, and how we are going to counter it. That SWOT analysis is to be done. That analysis report is to be prepared. If you're an organization, then it is to be submitted to your controlling office. An event need to be planned with 5 Ws concept, why the event is being done, what is the kind of event, when the event is to be conducted, where the event is going to be conducted, who is going to take care of those particular event. These are very small issues, but very, very important issues, and everything together will make an event successful, right? So success upon will depend of an event will depend upon these factors. Event venue selection is something very, very important, and this will depend upon various factors like target audience, the guest size, the target audience, convenience, the history of the venue, how the things went on earlier, what are the services available in the venue, what are the security arrangements in the venue, what are the fees for the venue, what are the parking facilities in the venue. These are certain issues which are of importance and has to be taken care of very well. And then there is a need for event marketing promotional campaign is to be made by setting up advertising, by deciding the promotional activities, various promotional activities, deciding the media, various media, it may be social media, print media, electronic media, and then how much you are going to depend upon the each and every media that is to be seen. And what is the most appropriate media for a particular target group of people. The webinars, the email marketing, and the WhatsApp marketing. So it will depend upon what kind of target group and what kind of geographical location you want to reach. Depending upon that, you have to decide the promotional tools that which becomes more suitable for you. Right. So with that, we come to the end of our, and then there is some evaluation also. I'm sorry that there is an evaluation is to be done for the training program. That is last but not the least. That's very important, so that because the feedback that you get itself becomes something constructive for learning for the future programs. And the events can be promoted through our past events, the records of our past events and the testimonials, which can be gathered through the website, which can be exhibited through the website, which can be exhibited through the advertisements, and we can get testimonials of others, we can get photographs, we can make special events. All these things are the promoting events which can really help us in conducting the present event and the future event well. So with that, we come to the end of our training today's session. If you have got any question, you are most welcome, please.
Sir, I have one question.
Please.
If we have to develop an instructional strategy incorporating all the essential elements for any organization, what should we do? I mean, how should we act? Let's say if we have to answer, that we have to, write an instructional, or we have to develop an instructional strategy for any organization involving all the essential elements of.
Can you please ask me the question once again?
The question is, I have to develop an instructional strategy
Yeah.
incorporating all the essential elements involved in it for any organization.
Okay. Okay. So,
So,
well,
so
well,
how
problem is,
to architect, how to create that instructional strategy, sir, develop.
see, it is to be done step by step. For an instructional strategy, what are the steps that is to be taken, right? Every element of it, the right from the material to the study material to the trainer material, trainer manual, the the manual for the participants, the venue, the equipments and materials, the trainer. All these things are the components. Whenever there is an instructional strategy, all these things are components. The venue selection, not only that, sitting arrangement of the people. So right from the conception, from the program itself and the materials itself to the end, to the venue selection and sitting arrangement and boarding and lodging and all that, each and every point is to be included. But here, I would I would like to specially mention one thing. Sometimes it is asked that write and make an instructional strategy, right?
Right.
But what happens? People make a mistake by writing the instructional methods. Try to understand that instructional methods and instructional strategy are two different things. Instructional methods are the ways of delivering the training program. Instructional strategy or this training plan is something different. It involves the material, the venue, the selection, the training program, the equipment, the entire conducting of the training program, the entire requirement of the training program. So do not make a mistake of writing the instructional methods in place of instructional strategy. So in
Yes,
a strategy, you have to write everything right from the beginning, right?
correct.
The purpose, the the material, the manuals, the trainers, the equipments, the venue, the sitting arrangements, and all that, and then even the delivery of the things, right? Everything has to be said there in an instructional strategy. Yes, please.
Yes, sir. I guess, right from the analysis to the evaluation of the learners.
Yes. See what happens. This is this is the stage where you're really pre-delivery stage, when you are really going to deliver the training program. Before that, you have to make an estimation: which materials are required, who is going to do that, which things are required, how we are going to do it. That is the stage. And before that, you have already planned. Earlier it was all planning stage. After that planning stage, now we are making a blueprint of actual delivery. And
Right.
after this, you will deliver. After this, you are really going to deliver the product. So everything that is required to deliver a training program, to deliver an event, everything that is required is going to be discussed and analyzed in this instructional strategy.
Sir, in that case, budgeting is also one of the most important
Of
part of,
course, budgeting is required in that, no?
right.
Because when you are talking about the material, the equipment, the faculties, and everything, budget becomes a very important aspect in it, because everything will be decided by the budget. Ultimately, that is going to happen. So, in an instructional strategy, budget will be included. That will be part of that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions? No question.